Good morning. Welcome to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Appreciate you guys for joining me on this wonderful Wednesday. I know what I'm about to lead off the show with is something that I care way more about than the average person. I get that. But it's my show, so we're going to talk about it. So Stan Verrett and Neil Everett, two legendary Sports Center anchors, are starting a new show, a sports show on Twitch. This got announced about 48 hours ago. And one of the things they're trying to do is recapture a more lighthearted Sports Center feel, something that, what made them legendary anchors on this during ESPN, during Sports Center's prime. And I thought it was interesting because no one really knows how to do sports media right now, myself included. No one really has it figured out how people want to enjoy sports media content. We all know there's millions upon millions of people who enjoy watching sports, and there's people that want to hear people talk about sports. We don't really know how we want that to sound. And media is in this weird space in terms of sports media where the established legends, we have to take them out. I'm not talking about Dan Patrick. I'm not talking about Colin Cowherd. I'm not talking about Jim Rome. The guys, and even realistically at this point, you have to put Stephen A. Smith in that class. The guys who have these huge fan bases that they have accrued over years and years and are sitting in a status where somebody will listen to them almost no matter what they're doing. Skip Bayless is also in this. I understand he's not on a mainstream network anymore, but Skip still does his own show, and people go to watch the show. Whether they're hate watching or not, you can debate, but these guys already have certified audiences. People are going to listen to them. The next set of shows that are successful, or the media person that is successful, it's not so much how that they talk about sports in a way that you learn or you're excited. It's almost like the next tier of sports media superstars. It's you watch to hate watch them. Their biggest episodes, their biggest shows are when the team or the subject or what they're rooting for fails. And you want to go and hate watch and go, ha, you don't know what you're talking about. This is, and ESPN and FS1 are still the biggest guys in the world at this. This is FS1. This is Nick Wright. I just got something, sorry about that. This is Nick Wright at FS1, who's one of the biggest media stars in sports media stars in the world. It's undeniable. And people hate watching. And it's really a shame because he's knowledgeable about sports. He's extremely knowledgeable about sports history. But what makes him captivating, gets people to watch, is because he has turned into this arrogant character that wants to always be right, or is always talks in this assertion that he's always right. It's not that he's the most informative. It's not that he's the best represented. It's not that his stick is, I want people to hate me because I am this know-it-all guy who talks like it. Then on the other side, and I want to be clear here, again, ESPN FS1, and Nick's the biggest star between either of them. Because in the next group of guys you got to go to outside of the main networks are what what Neil and Stan are trying to do, which is the internet shows. This is Gil's Arena. This is, I understand he's now on the major network. Like, I still consider Pat McAfee an internet show, just the basis of the show, how it started. These guys, it's not so much how they talk about sports, it's their personality. Gil has, that show is entertaining. About 5 good actual conversations come out of it a year. And so again, I say all this to say, why Stan and Neil are doing this as legendary Sports Center anchors is because no one's figured out. Yes, there is obviously these guys have figured out money, figured out audiences, but no one has really figured out how to solidify a fan base like the legends had, like Dan Patrick has, like Colin Cowherd has, where they could just sit there on a microphone for 2 to 3 hours and you're intrigued by what they say, not just their personality or not just their shtick or not just their gimmick. And so I applaud Stan and Neil. Again, if this show bombs, they're legends. Show could just bomb. They are a part of sports media history forever during the golden age of Sports Center. But they're looking around the same way and going, no one really knows what they're doing. No one's really figured this out. post maybe we're still in it, the hot take debate craze that was Skip, Stephen A, all these debate shows. So again, they're starting up a new show. I salute to them. I don't know if it's going to be good, but Child Me is really happy. Again, these are two guys who are certified legends in this space. So shout out to them. Where I want to go next to it, I already brought him up, is Nick Wright, his show FS1, First Things First on FS1. And the show's really good. Between all three of them, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wilds, it's a really good show. It's really funny. There is informative moments. It is mostly personality, but there is still some good sports talks that happen on there. And they bring on former players, former coaches for if you want to get into the real nerdy deep dive part of sports. They do a good job of balancing that and making a blend. The problem with FS1, and we talked about this a few weeks ago when they cut all the shows, they don't really know what they're going to do with the next guys. Now, I firmly believe they want to give Nick Wright his own show. I think they believe, and the numbers probably dictate it, where he could facilitate his own show, whether that's in the morning or not, or after Colin. They want to give him his own show. The problem is when they started to expand. Now, remember, FS1, their big hit was they signed Colin away from ESPN and they signed Skip away from ESPN. And those guys, Undisputed and The Herd, were doing numbers and were able to carry the network and turn it into what it is today. That is a fact. What they are now stuck in is they gave out all these contracts, paid all these guys to go be personalities, and all their shows tanked. Craig Carton's show didn't do well. They rebranded him with Schlereth and Danny Parkins. They had Emmanuel Acho, who they gave him, McCoy, Chase Daniel, and James Jones. That didn't work. They gave Joy Taylor, Paul Pierce, Keyshawn Johnson their show. That didn't work. So they tried all these different little shows. They all bombed. And now they just have excess talent, and they're like, man, we got to figure something out. So First Things First announces that it's going to 3 hours. They did this about a month ago. Hey, we're going to be 3 hours. They take the little break off, which they normally always do. They take a week off for the NFL season before it's boom, boom, boom. Get it? Understand? And they say, hey, we're going to be 3 hours post the break. And you would think, oh, okay, we're going to get more of what works, which is the dynamic between Nick, Chris, and Kevin works 1,000%. And the different recurring guests, whether it's Coach Mangini, whether it's Greg Jennings, like they have a system in place that absolutely works for that show. Excuse me. The problem then is now this third hour, they're like, we have to shoehorn Danny Parkins in because we gave him X amount of money. We don't want to just let him go. We gave apparently Willie Colon X amount of money. We don't want to just let him go. And Greg Jennings has been a part of the show. Like, but it's a really awkward third hour. It feels like, hey, this is really successful. Your shows weren't. You weren't able to make it. So we're just going to throw you onto this and hope it works. And I don't know the numbers. Obviously, I'm not going to know the numbers. I don't work at Fox. But the steep decline as someone who's an enjoyer of the show, and to see like my participation as soon as those three are off the screen, I'm checking out. Because that's not their show anymore. You're just like, you're calling it First Things First OT. And it's like, if you wanted to try them on a show and you thought they were good enough, well, you would have done what you just did the last 6 months, which is give them a show, see if it works. People weren't interested. People rejected it. I'm going to be very clear. I honestly, if you want to talk about just genuine sports conversation, I like Danny Parkins probably the best. He's got a little bit of the smug caricature, but when he's been on Chicago radio for a long time, he is extremely in-depth and passionate about baseball, football, a little bit of basketball there. His style feels very authentic to him. But again, to kind of wrap this up, we just don't know as a population how we want to take in sports. And so everybody is scrambling. And if you're not, you either have to be really low overhead, the internet shows, the personality driven entirely, also the internet shows, or you just got to really, really hit it off and be the Herd, First Take, First Things First before this third hour. It's like there's a lot going on in the sports media space, and no one has truly figured it out. And again, I'm not saying I've got it, obviously. Like, look at my subscriber count, look at my view count. Like, I'm obviously not sitting here saying that I'm the guy who's figured it out. But I'm watching around, I'm like, no one's figured this out. Not the big guys, not the internet guys, to truly sit there and talk about sports. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.